Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We haven't got the shed today. It's out of bounds. And today in this video we're going to be talking about A-level results and the algorithm and what you can do as a sports science student potentially after you got your A-levels, what you can do, whether you can go to university or if it's right to take time out.
This episode is brought to you by Wondershare Filmora and NordVPN. Wondershare Filmora is a simple but effectively powerful video editor. It is in fact the one I'm using to make this video on. A virtual private network, or a VPN, gives you online privacy and anonymity by creating a private network from a public internet connection. I recommend anyone, including students, to get a VPN, and Nord is one of the best. You can find both affiliate links in the resource section in the description.
I'm fully aware that many of you, this is going to be a pressing subject, so I'm going to try and do it as best as I can, and bearing in mind many of you are going to be stressed as well. So if you're new to this channel and you're new to the all 5 lives concept, basically I take 5 minutes 55 seconds to take and explain a subject that is often quite complex or often takes longer to do so. If this is the kind of thing you like, smash like and subscribe down below. Got loading up all the 5s down below and we're going 5 live. Now, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it was sought best by the government of both the United Kingdom but also of the regional areas, the national areas like Scotland, Ireland, Wales, that in order to best serve the students' needs, the fact that they're not going to do exams over this period, that they'll work off the grades that the teachers had given them or had predicted for them. Now this was slightly problematic, noted by Hul Dong, what a name, I know. The main problem for this is that they had to utilize an algorithm, as many of you students watching this have probably know already and probably dislike massively. The algorithm utilized was a recommendation algorithm based upon ranking the students and then distributing the grades evenly through a candidate filter to those students. Think of it like YouTube. YouTube candidate filter ranks the videos and then predicts from that what you are likely to watch. Students are ranked in order of what the teacher expects they will get. Now, students that are of the same ranking, same grades, the one with the lowest rank will often more likely get the lowest grade, regardless of what their predicted results are. Now, this is highly unfair, as you can imagine. Now, when it comes to the distribution of students, sometimes the algorithm will get it wrong. It won't necessarily predict the right result. Reason being is because it predicts, based upon your results in the past 3 years, what is likely to be the distribution of results. So if suddenly you have a really good year, really good cohort, the algorithm doesn't factor that. The algorithm just says, well, there's got to be a U in here somewhere, so we're going to allocate that to the lowest ranked student. Regardless if they get an A, for instance, you suddenly get graded a U. And the results were based upon 3 years of school performance. Another problem is with niche subjects such as Latin and ancient Greek. These subjects aren't really done by many people, so the amount of data utilized for the algorithm is not very much, so therefore the results are often far higher than probably what they actually should be. Now, the problem with this kind of thing is that mainly elite schools generally tend to do these niche subjects. They generally tend to have less people in the room as well, which will also affect the results, because if people in the room, less people in the class, less people in the cohort, this means that there is less data for the algorithm to look at. The same problem can be said when there is a vast cohort. Yes, that does mean it gets more data, but when there are anomalies, the algorithm doesn't work well with anomalies. Subjects where lots of people do them, such as sports society, PE, A-level PE, generally tend to get lower results because of the algorithm. Generally in a poor area, unfortunately, and not necessarily always the case, they generally tend to get lower results. So suddenly if you have a normal or an outset year, their marks will get graded down. According to Hul Dong, the first input for the grade calculation consisted of the center assessment grade and rankings, which have some errors.
The second input was historical performance at the school subject cohort level, which only has weak association with the ability of the 2020 cohort, and furthermore can be volatile. The third input was the 2020 cohort's prior attainment, but as Professor George Constantiades found, that corrections for prior attainment are made in dubious ways. Fourth, finally, the appeal procedure to protect the students against these fundamental flaws was also flawed itself. A potential student going through the toughest time ever for students. What can you do, especially in sports science? Well, you could potentially take a gap year, but in order to take a gap year, you have to do something that's worthwhile. Either A, gain money, or B, gain experience. But that's going to be highly unlikely in time like this because you can't really travel anywhere. You can't really do anything. Jobs may be scarce because of an upcoming recession. And it's just not appealing to go into work in the middle of a recession. So if that's not the option, your other option really then has to go to university. Second of all, jobs in sports science are often quite rare. 60% of people who end up doing a sports science based degree at the end of their degree don't get a career in sports science. You have decided that you'll go to university and do a sports science degree. But which sports science degree and which would be best in times like these? Sports science in itself, like as I mentioned, 60% of people don't end up doing a job in sports science, and especially when people start advertising jobs like this, and you could argue they are taking the piss. Some jobs require you to get further accreditation, or at least jobs out or courses outside of your degree, in order for you to gain those experiences and to gain those grades. For instance, in sports psychology, that is an 8-year degree potentially, which is more than becoming a doctor. And that may put people off because it's a starting wage of 18 to around about 23,000 with a potential earning wage of about mid-20s to late 20s, which is not a lot of money for all that amount of money you put into your degree and time you put in towards your degree. That sports science jobs that don't particularly need a degree, then it might be worth going down those routes as well if you're spending time out of university. Likewise, all I will say is research the sports science degrees you want to do, or sports science itself, and have a clear path in how you're going to obtain those degrees, what you're going to do after those degrees, and research it damn well. Bear in mind that things change all the time. This is a highly fluid situation, and therefore the advice I might be giving you now may not be relevant even 6 months, year, 2, 3 years down the line. When researching, try not just to research what happens now or slightly in the past, because by the time you finish your degree, that may not be the situation of the time, and that's what I personally did wrong. Try and look at the predictions, try and see how the market is changing. One thing I will say, especially in sports science where people are demanding more experience, but this experience may not necessarily be available, and that is to get yourself a side hustle or a second hustle. Something that demonstrates not only your sports science ability, but it's able to give you an income potentially on the side so you can enjoy a greater income, or just show how well your sports science knowledge is, or at least say, hey, I've got this experience doing sports science, take me in this job. Options like basis look upon this and say, hey, you've done really well at this, you've actually have gone out your way to get this experience, and it's highly important in this modern era that you do this. It will also help to protect you in case you lose your job and therefore have no income. You've got a second income as a trampoline kind of thing to protect your fall. And finally, I would say look for skills within your degree that are transferable, especially when applying for university jobs. They may not be visible at the beginning, but they certainly will become vital once you left your degree. For those skills that are transferable when you're looking at your degree course to see what will be best for you personally. Do a degree that suits your individual skills best and that you think you will enjoy, because there's no point doing it if you don't enjoy it, because you won't never get a good grade at it. And of course guys, don't panic, these are hard times and I fully appreciate that,
and absolutely smash it, guys. Hope you get your degree. All I got to say, if you like this video and need more information, just simply comment down below or give me a direct message on Facebook or Twitter via the Adam MPT and Performance page. Smash the bell, smash subscribe, do all that kind of thing, and I'll see you in the next video.